On June 1, 2025, a date that will be etched in the annals of this conflict, a significant shift occurred in the dynamics of the war. This day marked the commencement of a bold and unprecedented operation, one that would redefine the scope and reach of the Ukrainian military. Ukraine launched a sweeping drone offensive, a meticulously planned and daring operation that showcased the nation's evolving military capabilities. This wasn't just a localized skirmish, it was a calculated strategic move designed to strike at the heart of Russian military infrastructure. The primary objective of this offensive was striking key Russian military air bases, facilities crucial for Moscow's air power and logistical support. These air bases served as vital hubs for aircraft deployment, maintenance, and the storage of critical military assets. What made this operation particularly audacious was the fact that these targets were located deep inside Russian territory. This demonstrated a willingness and capability to take the fight far beyond the immediate front lines, challenging Russia's sense of security within its own borders. The operation targeted facilities not indiscriminately, but with precision and purpose. Intelligence gathering played a crucial role in identifying key assets and vulnerabilities within these installations. The drone strikes spanned across 5 Russian regions, a geographically diverse area stretching from the western borders to the far reaches of Siberia. This wide-ranging attack highlighted the scale and ambition of Ukraine's strategic planning. This operation is marking a dramatic escalation, a turning point in the conflict that raises serious questions about the future trajectory of the war. The implications of this offensive are far-reaching and could potentially reshape the geopolitical landscape. This showcases Kiev's ability to project power far beyond the front lines, signaling a significant advancement in its military capabilities. It demonstrates that Ukraine is no longer solely focused on defensive operations, but is now capable of taking the initiative and striking at strategic targets deep within enemy territory. Strategic air bases in Murmansk, located in the Arctic region, Irkutsk, a key military hub in Siberia, Ivanovo, an airbase near Moscow, Ryazan, and Amur were hit, demonstrating the widespread nature of the offensive and the vulnerability of Russian military assets across its vast territory. This is demonstrating Ukraine's growing reach and intelligence capabilities, highlighting the effectiveness of its reconnaissance efforts and the ability to identify and target critical infrastructure. These attacks shattered the sense of security, exposing vulnerabilities in Russia's air defense systems and raising questions about its ability to protect its strategic assets. This is especially true in Russia's remote military installations, where security measures may be less stringent and response times slower. This is delivering a psychological blow to Moscow, undermining public confidence in the government's ability to safeguard the nation's security. For Ukraine, the strikes boost morale, providing a much-needed sense of accomplishment and demonstrating the effectiveness of its military strategy. This also showcases Western-backed technological advances, highlighting the impact of international support in bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities. All of this is while disrupting Russian logistics and air operations, potentially hindering their ability to conduct future military actions. The world now watches anxiously, as the implications of this escalation ripple across the international stage. This is questioning whether such bold moves, while strategically advantageous in the short term, could push the conflict toward even more dangerous territory, potentially leading to unforeseen and catastrophic consequences. The aftermath and reactions from both sides, both on the battlefield and in the diplomatic arena, will shape the next phase of this volatile war, determining whether it spirals further out of control or finds a path toward de-escalation. Let's break down what these strikes mean for the conflict's future, examining the strategic implications and potential ramifications of this bold offensive. In a bold and audacious move, Ukraine's June 1st drone operation marked a significant escalation in the conflict, demonstrating a new level of strategic reach and technological sophistication. This operation was unprecedented in scale, using first-person view (FPV) drones to strike at air bases in Murmansk, a region previously considered safely beyond the reach of Ukrainian forces. The selection of these targets sent a clear message about Ukraine's evolving capabilities. Irkutsk, a location deep within Russian territory, Ivanovo, showcasing the drone's extended range and precision, Ryazan, hitting strategic assets far from the front lines, and even reaching as far as Amur, demonstrating a capacity to strike across vast distances. The strategic choice of targets suggests a deliberate and calculated strategy to overwhelm and saturate Russian air defenses, forcing them to spread resources thin. It also served to demonstrate Ukraine's growing ability to strike strategically important targets virtually anywhere within Russia, challenging previous assumptions about the limits of the conflict. Russia was compelled to admit that some of the drones successfully caused fires and inflicted damage on aircraft stationed in Murmansk and Irkutsk, acknowledging the effectiveness of at least some of the strikes. This admission came despite their initial claims of successfully repelling the attacks in other locations, highlighting the difficulty in completely concealing the impact of such widespread operations. The material loss, even if limited to a few aircraft, places a strain on Russian readiness and already stretched resources, potentially impacting their operational capabilities in other areas. Furthermore, Russian authorities reported detaining individuals allegedly linked to the drone attacks, suggesting the presence of internal support or collaboration within Russia. This development highlights growing concerns within Russia about internal sabotage and the potential for further disruptions to their military operations. The successful use of FPV drones for these deep strikes signals a significant leap forward in Ukrainian military technology and innovation, demonstrating their ability to adapt and overcome limitations. This includes greater range, allowing them to reach targets previously considered inaccessible, enhanced navigation capabilities, enabling more precise targeting and mission execution, and the capacity to carry more potent payloads, increasing the destructive potential of each strike. Russia's traditional reliance on its vast strategic depth as a buffer against attack is now demonstrably under threat, forcing a reassessment of its defensive posture. This necessitates a fundamental rethink of air defense priorities and resource allocation to protect critical infrastructure and military assets across its expansive territory. The ongoing war's technological race is rapidly accelerating, pushing both sides to innovate and adapt at an unprecedented pace. This constant pressure to adapt and innovate is reshaping the nature of modern warfare, with both sides demonstrating a remarkable capacity for rapid military innovation and adaptation. In Kyiv, the heart of Ukraine, the news of the drone strikes was met not with fear, but with open celebration and a surge of national pride. The streets filled with cheering crowds, waving Ukrainian flags, a testament to their resilience. President Zelensky, addressing the nation, praised the operation as absolutely brilliant, a strategic victory that resonated deeply with the Ukrainian people. This success is not just about military gains. It's about boosting morale, reinforcing national unity, and sending a clear, unwavering message of defiance to Moscow. It demonstrates Ukraine's resolve to defend its sovereignty. These attacks are not isolated incidents, but rather fit a carefully considered pattern of Ukrainian strategy, a calculated approach to weaken the aggressor. This strategy involves bold strikes on Russian military assets, targeting key infrastructure and strategic locations within Russian territory. We've seen this with the innovative use of naval drones in the Black Sea, disrupting Russian naval operations and challenging their dominance, and also with the targeted attacks on oil refineries, crippling Russia's ability to fuel its war machine and generate revenue. The June 1st airbase hits further amplify this strategic approach, showcasing Ukraine's evolving capabilities and determination. These strikes are a clear demonstration of Ukraine's ability to project force deep into Russia, challenging the Kremlin's sense of security. Tactically, the strikes degrade Russian capabilities, weakening their military infrastructure and disrupting their supply lines. These actions also force Moscow to divert critical resources to defend its interior, stretching their already strained military capacity and resources. Psychologically, these attacks serve as a stark reminder to Russians that the war is not a distant conflict confined to Ukraine. It can reach their own soil, bringing the reality of the war home and challenging the Kremlin's narrative. For Ukraine, publicizing these successes is also a crucial element in maintaining vital Western support, demonstrating their effectiveness and commitment to defending their nation. Ultimately, it's about proving to the world and to its own people that its forces can not only defend their homeland, but also take the fight to the enemy, showcasing their strength and resilience in the face of aggression. Russia's response was to downplay the strikes while admitting some damage and vowing to strengthen defenses. The Defense Ministry claimed air defenses worked in most regions, but could not hide the fires in Murmansk and Irkutsk. Officials emphasized that fires were quickly contained and there were no casualties, aiming to reassure the public. Announcing arrests of alleged collaborators, Russia sought to deter future attacks and frame the incident as foreign-inspired subversion. Notably, Moscow avoided immediate nuclear threats, focusing instead on operational details and internal security. The attacks will force a review of Russian air defense, as drones now threaten even the most remote bases. The technological arms race in this war is relentless, demanding constant adaptation. The timing of Ukraine's drone offensive, just before peace talks in Istanbul, was no accident. Kiev likely aimed to enter negotiations from a position of strength, signaling it won't negotiate under pressure or from weakness. The strikes remind Moscow of the war's costs and show international mediators that Ukraine remains a formidable force. However, such actions risk hardening Russia's stance or derailing talks altogether. For Russia, the attacks could be seen as provocation, justifying a tougher negotiating position. The international community, especially mediators like Turkey, now faces an even more fragile diplomatic landscape. Whether the talks succeed may depend on both sides' willingness to separate battlefield actions from the search for peace. The drone strikes highlight a major shift. Rapid innovation in military technology is reshaping the war. Ukraine's FPV drones, now capable of deep strikes, challenge Russia's traditional reliance on vast territory for security. Sites once considered safe are now vulnerable, forcing Russia to rethink air defense across its entire expanse. The conflict has become a testing ground for drones, electronic warfare, and intelligence gathering. Ukraine's ingenuity, often with Western support, has democratized air power. Cheap drones now achieve what once required manned aircraft. But as both sides push technological boundaries, the risk of miscalculation and escalation grows. Each new capability raises the stakes, making de-escalation ever more urgent. Every escalation in Ukraine raises the specter of nuclear weapons, given Russia's doctrine allowing their use if the state's survival is threatened. The June 1st drone strikes deep inside Russia naturally prompt questions about nuclear red lines. So far, Moscow's response has been conventional: no direct nuclear threats or escalatory rhetoric. This suggests Russia does not see these strikes as crossing the nuclear threshold, at least for now. Still, the risk remains. If future attacks cause mass casualties or hit nuclear-linked sites, the calculus could change. The ambiguity of Russia's nuclear red lines keeps tensions high and demands careful risk management. The world must remain vigilant as the conflict's boundaries are tested. Most experts agree the June 1st drone strikes, while bold, have not significantly raised the immediate risk of nuclear war. The attacks targeted military assets, not causing mass casualties or threatening Russia's nuclear command. Russia's conventional response aligns with this view, treating the strikes as part of ongoing warfare. Analysts note that Russia's nuclear doctrine sets a high bar for first use, an existential threat, not just material damage. The deterrent effect of global condemnation and catastrophic consequences remains strong. Still, experts warn that cumulative escalation and miscalculation could raise the background risk over time. Avoiding a spiral of escalation is critical to prevent disaster. Ukraine's June 1st drone strikes mark a bold escalation showcasing new capabilities and challenging Russia's defenses. While Kyiv celebrates and Moscow downplays, the timing complicates already tense peace talks. Experts see little immediate nuclear risk but warn that each escalation raises the potential for miscalculation. The war's technological race will continue with both sides seeking new advantages. The international community must balance support for Ukraine with efforts to prevent catastrophic escalation. The real danger lies in the gradual erosion of restraint and the normalization of actions once considered unthinkable. Only clear communication, de-escalation, and a commitment to peace can keep the world from the brink.